Good evening, John. How are you?
Oh, I'm not too bad. It's a bit of a difficult night with regard to those poor folk held up in the Linter Cafe, so we wish them all the best, and we're always thinking of them, of course, and just trying to bring the news to our listeners as it happens.
Yeah, look, it's been a particularly tough day, I think, for all involved in not just the people down at St Martin's Square, St Martin's Place there in Sydney, but for all those involved in media right across the country. It is a story that could frightfully become the #1 story of the year, and this is just one great fear that I have, is that and hope that it just doesn't, because we know that it only takes just one little thing to go wrong, and we could see something go terribly bad. But up till now, you've got to praise the emergency services, the way that they've gone about it. It has been nothing short of pure professionalism, and we've seen, obviously, 5 hostages get away, and hopefully we're going to see the whole lot of them. And hopefully we'll see this come to an end pretty soon in a very safe way.
Well, we're told it could be going on for a while, but of course no one really honestly knows how long it will go.
Yeah, no one knows. And I think, look, a lot of speculation has come out through the media right through the day. Early reports coming through. So from basically around 9:30 a.m, early stories were starting to pop through, and media right across the country have put absolute pure attention on this. There is virtually nothing that you can actually go to that doesn't deal with this issue, and rightfully so. I think it's one that we saw only a couple of months ago, John, where a case was reported where there was going to be an attempt by a terrorist to go away and execute an unknown Australian, a random Australian, in the middle of St Martin's Square there, by ISIL supporters, and basically we're going to go away and commit a terrorist attack. And now that this has happened, and this kind of hostage situation has happened, the real fear of this is actually right in front of our faces.
That's right, and if this fellow's trying to get publicity, he's done it in the right spot, hasn't he?
He's done it in the right spot, right across the road from Channel 7. If you've ever been to Sydney, this is really, if you were to call Sydney, I suppose, the heart of Australia, St Martin's Place there, St Martin's Square there, is pretty much the soul, because it's really where a lot of people come to congregate. A lot of business people are coming through, very big with politicians, business people. Westpac's not far away. It's really the heart of the business district there. And right across the road from Channel 7, I mean, if you're going to go away and commit something like this, you do it in a place like right across the road from Channel 7. It's I think that the media has dealt with it pretty well, John. I think that, and I've been listening and tuning in quite early tonight, and listening to Jill actually just as before the news, and the way that you've been talking through this, dealing with it beautifully. I think some media, though, has actually dealt with it fairly poorly. I don't know if you've seen the headlines of one Sydney newspaper that put out an early edition this afternoon, but they've really not delivered themselves in any form of glory. We know that this is not an ISIL attack. We know that this is not. He's not connected to that terrorist group. This is a lone wolf approach. Yet,
well, we really don't know much about him at all, do we?
We know a little bit. I think that what has come out so far is that he's not connected, and pretty much with all the Islam groups that have come out to condemn this, and they were very quick to condemn this, because they have got no association with this person or even know who this guy is. That is very rare in such strong Islam communities that this would happen. So, you know, this is not an attack that is motivated from that front. This is a guy that's just looking to do something that is not motivated by any other group. We're coming to that conclusion. I think a lot of the experts that have been talking today have come to that.
What have they suggested, the ones that you've heard, that it's a lone wolf situation?
They've suggested that he's got a personal vendetta that he's looking to go out to do, and he's under no guidance or no instruction from any other group. And that's the most important thing here, John, because I think, you know, this does raise such emotion through everyone. The fear factor here, I mean, he has held one of the busiest parts of Sydney up for the last 14, 15 hours now, and it looks as though there is no end to this for quite some time. And will it go into a second day? I mean, it's
looking likely at the moment.
It's looking very likely like that. And, you know, this is the kind of attention that a guy like this is looking for and is craving for. I'm hoping, And the reason that this is, and the other suggestion there that he's a bit of a lone wolf is that there have been no real solid demands other than some sort of...
wanting to talk to the Prime Minister.
Talking to the Prime Minister and a few media contacts there. There has been no connection to a group, or the flag that was put forward was not connected or associated with any other particular extremist group. So this is a guy that's just out there to do his own thing, and it could be anyone. He could be from any religion or any background, and it just so happens that it's this particular person that's doing it.
Do we really know if where he is now was his target?
Look, I don't think
there's speculation.
That would be pure speculation.
There has been some speculation that he might have been on a different mission, and that's where he's ended up.
Joe, we're all. I think this is the nature of what we do. Is we are speculating a little bit. I think we're just trying to nut out a little bit of the truth of some of the.
I would say the police know, but they can't say anything because they don't want to inflame the situation, and rightly so.
Correct. And look, gee, don't you feel proud to be Australian to see the professionalism of these groups that are able to deal with this? I think they're doing.
Oh, unbelievable! And what it doesn't amaze me, but it's nice to hear, and you hear other specialists talk of the tactical response group in New South Wales, and apparently they are world class leaders in what they do.
Yeah, and look, we've been on alert for a little while now.
Yes.
The whole of Australia has been on alert, but I think the one thing that we do know, that when this sort of thing happens, and they do it in front of the media, and this is why ISIL has been so successful, is that they know how to manipulate the media, they know how to use social media to share and spread their vile, filth, their propaganda there.
And the media is very important to them too, isn't it?
Oh, it's an important asset. It's almost it's the new armament of this decade. It's a way. Look, we saw it back in the days of Vietnam War. That was the first war that was actually broadcasted into every single home, whether it be in America, into Australia. The real harsh realities of what war is about. And we saw, I guess, too, with what was going on with the Gulf Wars. But
it was right on TV there, right before our eyes, in our lounge room.
Correct.
Nick, I'm just going to hold you there because I've got some commitments. So can I hold you over and we'll have a bit more of a chat?
Yes, certainly.
Nic Hayes from Media Stable is my special guest at this time on a Monday night. We're just mulling over a couple of thoughts with regard to social media and, that Gulf War that he mentioned that was perhaps the first war that was right in our lounge rooms. If you'd like to comment, feel free. Our number 1332. With our reporters from our sister station to you in Sydney who are on the ground at Martin Place. Nothing more to report at this stage. The Lindt Cafe, as I've mentioned, is surrounded by police wearing night goggles. Emergency vehicles are in place, as they have been all day, and there's hordes of police in that area. Most of the reporters are behind a barricade. It's a line, a fair way back from where the Lindt Cafe is, but they can see any developments, should there be any developments. It's in darkness at the moment, and we're informed that police negotiations are continuing with the person that's holding the hostages in the Lindt Cafe. So, as we've said many times on the program tonight, while that's continuing, it's encouraging. Nick, I guess the media report these situations. If we did a blackout, if the media did a blackout on these situations and and the newspapers did the same thing, would that change things?
Oh, look, I think with these kind of things you have to report what's going on. I mean, there was nothing else out there today that was going to capture the attention of the Australian people than this, and it's almost like you're a deer looking at the headlights. You can't move. You can't go. You've got to keep going with it. We have a responsibility to report these stories. We can't hide away from them. And I think the Australian people would expect nothing more, nothing less from our journalists to go away and report what is actually happening. The one thing, like as I mentioned earlier, the disappointing thing from that Sydney newspaper is to report in a sensationalist way, in a way that had no fact, or actually reporting things on pure and utter speculation can be very harmful and damaging. And that's where I would say that's when we start entering into places and areas there that can be more harmful than good. But we have to report what's going on. We can't put our heads in the sand and just hope that this all goes away. This is reality. This is what's happening. and we have to report it.
Nick, I'd like to take it, by all means call us, 13 13 32. The lines are open if you want to chime in at any point. Pam's on the line. Go ahead, Pam. Nic Hayes is my special guest from Media Stable.
Hello, John, Nick. Well, I think I can't imagine the police will storm the building. I don't think they can afford or risk it. I suspect they will stay the distance, continue to negotiate, and hopefully where the perpetrators are.
Well, they obviously have tactics, wouldn't you say, Nick, that they use. We don't know what they are, but they're highly trained and highly skilled in this area.
Oh, certainly. Protocols are in place here, and Pam, you're spot on. They're not going to just storm in. If they were going to do that, they would have done that in the...
Takes years of training, I heard today, in terms of negotiation.
These are our fittest, our brightest, our best in uniform, and they're doing a great little job there. I mean, some would probably hope, and there'd be a few people out there and go, well, you know what, it's getting close to Christmas time. The Die Hard films will all be coming on TV. Why don't we just storm the building, get it all over and done with, and just move on? But you can't do that.
No.
There's people's lives here.
Yeah.
And it's, look, the negotiators, I just think, you know, when they are starting to talk, they're able to sum up the situation.
And you wouldn't want to jeopardise that line of communication they have.
No, and a certain trust is being built here and an understanding. They're assessing the situation every 30 seconds. You know, we sit here and we've been talking about it and we've been letting, you know, we might have gone off for dinner or gone for a run, but these guys are dealing with this for every minute that this has been going on, and you can be assured that Australia's best are on it.
Thank you for your call, Pam. Now, lots of other things going on in the media. Of course, there's been this simmering issue with the PM's right-hand lady, Peter Credlin.
Yeah, Peter Credlin. Look, she has caused a little bit of a stir there. Getting off this subject a little bit, it's good too. But Peter Credlin has been causing a little bit of a stir there for the Liberal government and for the Prime Minister, Tony Abbott. Another little issue there for him just to top off his 2014. And what a beautiful year it's been for the Prime Minister.
Yeah.
He hasn't exactly had a great one, John. I think what he's trying to do is put everything out there now possible, anything that was being negative for the year, and he's trying to air it out all before Christmas, because there is a tendency. One of the great little media tricks that you can do as a business or as a government, get everything out in the month of December, air it all out, put it out there, get everyone talking about it, because come the 23rd, 24th of December, we are right into Christmas spirit. Everyone's in the moment there to forgive, maybe even forget. Hopefully Tony's going for that.
Oh, good luck.
Head towards the new year. Again, it's the quiet time. You know, media is very quiet, and the newspapers have all of a sudden got very thin. The content is not huge, and
and a lot of people, I think, switch off a little bit too at that time of year.
Oh, we're exhausted.
Yeah.
You know, I know, John, you're coming in to do the shifts for the...
and a lot of people, I think, switch off a little bit too at that time of year.
Oh, we're exhausted.
Yeah.
You know, I know, John, you're coming in to do the shifts for... You're sort of living it up, probably listening to some Elvis or something like that. But look, it's a time when we are a little tired and a little bit over it, but also it's a time when we try to correct.
Now, listen, let me hold you there. Tom wants to talk. G'day, Tom. Go ahead.
Yeah, g'day, John. G'day, Nick. Thanks for having me on the program. Mate, I was more so wondering, Nick, I don't know, obviously with all the events that we've seen lately with the G20 summit in Brisbane, the focus that the government and also the authorities have had on locking down on events like that have occurred today in Sydney, is there any thoughts or speculation around whether this could be misdirection or a distraction potentially for something bigger? As you said, you know, the media aren't reporting on a real lot at the moment. It is a quiet time. Do you feel that this is something leading up to maybe potentially something bigger that's, you know, around the corner?
Look, I think you could be onto something there, but I personally think that the Australian authorities are on such high alert that, if anything, an event like this actually raises it even higher. And actually puts all of us, all of the Australian people on alerts, looking out for strange objects and things that could be going on. So I don't think it's a. I don't think you're talking it as if it's a bit of a
decoy.
A decoy situation.
Yeah, I suppose a decoy. I suppose just looking at some of the headlines I read today, obviously online, in the media, but also being broadcasted across television. Obviously, there's been a history of multiple terrorist attacks over, I suppose, the last decade, and a multiple of those attacks have all been run in series, where there's obviously been one or two or more coordinated attacks. I'm just wondering whether this is maybe a test for the Australian authorities before something bigger comes along.
Look, it's a very, very, very good point, and it could be something there that is taking place without putting the fear into everyone.
I guess, Tom, that will become apparent as time marches on, but I think the immediate situation is to try and get these people out of this cafe alive.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, all right, look, thank you for your call. Nic Hayes, my special guest from Media Stable of Breaking My Back.
For an opportunity to commemorate the sacrifices made.
Keeping you informed, no developments since we last spoke prior to the break. Police still in place there, and as I said, emergency vehicles. I'm talking with Nic Hayes from Media Stable, and we've been talking about social media's part in today's events, and the media generally. We've got Chris online to have a chat. Nick, go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, go, mate. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. What do you want to say?
Good. No, look. What I'm seeing here is pretty much testament to what I experienced when I was in the services. I played a part in an anti-terrorist exercise back in the 80s, and I played the part of the terrorist. And wow.
Sorry, can you just repeat that for me? I might have missed it. Did you say you were in the services?
I did a anti-terrorist exercise.
Yes, as part of your job in the services.
Yeah, part of I was recruited for it, yes, and I played the part of a terrorist.
Okay.
And it was based in Canberra.
Yep.
And what they're going through now is pretty much what this guy inside there must be. Look, I actually when I played this part.
Yes.
It's very difficult.
So you feel
went for 3 days actually.
So and you felt the stress of that in that part you were playing.
Yeah. I still feel it now. Yeah, definitely.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. It was. An old school building in a place called Pialigo.
Yeah, that's interesting. We were talking about that prior, a couple of hours ago, Nick.
Oh, look, I'm in Cairns, so I don't get what you guys go on.
No, well, we've been broadcasting 2 years since 8 o'clock, and this is when we were talking about it. We suggested that he probably would be under a fair bit of stress, but I guess some of these blokes that do this know all about that.
Part of that, in that scenario, yeah. Like we held the AFP and everyone at bay for 3 days in this exercise. They had the bomb disposal robot, and we blindfolded it and made a wrap around a tree.
Okay.
And we had hostages as well. But when they blew the window out, and it was just quite traumatic, actually.
Yeah, all right. Well, look, it would have been, I guess, and a fair bit of pressure on all of you.
Oh, yeah, and I had weapons on me as well, and because I had weapons on me, we were thrown into a bus. And, these guys know what they're doing. Don't you worry. They've been practicing it since, I don't know, the 80s.
Good on you, Chris. Enjoy Cairns. So that's interesting, Nick, isn't it? Interesting reflection on what's going down.
Oh, look, highly stressful, and Chris has obviously been in the services before and has experienced that. I mean, I've even had a little dabble in that myself when I was in the army back in the days myself, but nothing to that sort of degree. 3 days, and these are guys that are look, they're the best trained in the country. I mean, in the world. I mean, these guys know exactly what they're doing, and the kind of pressure that will be hitting now. When we're heading into those sort of now later hours, there will be. I think the stress will not just only be on the terrorist, the gunman that's in there. It'll be the stress that'll be also on the emergency service, but they're prepared and ready for it. Just how much the gunman is. While I've got you there, John, I just thought I'd just raise something. Just on Twitter, there was a really amazing tweet here that's come out, and there has been a movement with the hashtag I'll Ride With You.
Oh, look, we've been talking about that all night. Yes, what a great idea. That's
what a great movement.
Yeah, social media working well there.
Look, we've seen some great things in social media working really, really well around this country of late, and particularly as we saw with the passing of Mr. Hughes Philip Hughes only a week
Yes.
and a bit ago. We're seeing this. I'll ride with you. What a great movement there to get everyone to unite and to get together. That's what I love about social media, is that it may not be your best friend that's standing right next to you, but you can unify, you can come together in moments like this.
It can work, can't it?
Oh, it definitely can. Most definitely can, because there is we are all fighting for the one cause here, and that is the Australian cause. But a great little tweet that I just wanted to read out. It's his name's Kim. He's got the Twitter handle Sir Rubberlot. He says, "Remember, folks, this clown in Sydney is carrying a gun, not a religion. I'll ride with you." Hashtag Sydney Siege. And such a good point. We've just got to remember, this guy's carrying a gun. He's not carrying a religion. And I'm pretty passionate about this, because I think it's very quick and easy that we can look at the Islamic religion there and blame them for this. This is a lone wolf. This is someone who is just out there just to cause.
I think
terror.
most thinking Australians understand what you're saying there.
Yeah, it's upsetting sometimes, because as much as social media can have that great hashtag "I'll ride with you," there's also a lot of ignorant and people out there that just want to just say what they think, but don't actually think before they say it.
That's quite right. As I was saying before, social media working well with that other hashtag, "I'll ride with you," but in some instances it really doesn't solve a lot of injustice. Listen, before I let you go, digital disruption coming to a spot near you. Yeah.
Let's get off a little bit off this topic, and of course it's been the number one dominating one. Look, we hear the word disruption all the time.
Yeah, it's coming, isn't it? Yes. This is just one area.
Just one area.
The cabs.
This is something that's disrupting us. The cabs, we're being disrupted at the moment with Uber.
Yeah.
All you good cabbies out there, I've talked to a lot of the Brisbane cabbies about Uber, and not a lot of support there for it. This is a technology. This is a technology that is out there that if the content and the service and the product is no good, or if it's failing, this kind of technology can come in and fill a gap. This is where we've got to send a real strong message out to all the service and product providers out there. Really work on your craft, work on your customer service, improve the experience, and things like this technology, like Uber. I mean,
Have you used it?
Say again?
Have you used it?
I have actually used it once.
How does it work for you?
It did work all right.
Yeah, my producer has used it, and I know people who have used it, and it's worked very well for them.
Look, it's a very pleasant.
I think it's here to stay, mate.
Yeah, it's hard to knock it when it does work. I think that the biggest complaint that we have is that, when the taxis either don't turn up on time, or the cab's not in a really good condition, and all of a sudden you get picked up by a BMW with a bottle of water. You think, well,
and a fella dressed in a suit.
You think, what has the world come to? Look, technology is this kind of disruptive technology is going to be happening. It's been happening since the Industrial Revolution. That's how business models have changed and developed over years. This is nothing new. But what I just want to send a message out is that to everyone who feels that technology is hurting them or is having a go at their business model, go away, adapt, change, come up with the solution. Don't be part of the problem. And that's the big thing, I think, for 2014 and 2015. We've heard the word disruption, and it's going to continue to happen. It's going to continue. More technology like this is going to be developed. And things like Gumtree. I mean, Gumtree. Have you been on Gumtree, John?
Massive.
I love it.
Massive.
But back in the days, we'd have to go away and.
I mean, you've got to watch it if you're selling things. I mean, there's pitfalls.
Yeah.
But you get the scammers. But generally speaking, if you keep your eye on the ball, to the uninitiated, it can be a bit difficult. But once you get your head around it, there's a few cons that try and take you for a ride on it, you're okay.
We sold our couches on a Saturday, bought our new couches on a Sunday, all on Gumtree.
Yeah.
And it works beautifully. And I think back in the days when you would have to, put an ad into the paper, wait for the paper to come out, then sit by the phone waiting for the calls to come in.
Oh, that sort of thing's okay. A friend of mine was selling a motorbike and got a few scammers that, obviously he didn't get involved. He said, well, if you're interested in buying this, send your fellow around and talk to me. And, of course, it didn't happen, and they were obviously scammers. But I guess with couches and things like that, it's probably really easy. I haven't done any business like that with couches and things.
Yeah, look, it's an Airbnb. Have you been involved with Airbnb?
I know it. I haven't used it, but I know people who have.
Yeah, what a great little technology. Where started off in San Francisco to fill up some extra lodgings there, There's now 800,000 listings of lodgements and rooms available around the world under this little technology. And again, just started out with a need, and it's turned out...
Well, there's a whole host of them. There's even, isn't there an app or a service where you can pay people to line up in lines for you and buy tickets?
Yeah. Oh, look,
it's everywhere.
They're everywhere. And look,
as I said, digital disruption, look out for it.
Watch out for digital disruption. But again, I say to everyone, if you're in business and if you're in a threat to some sort of digital disruption, don't just sit there and complain. Be part of the solution.
Yes, that's true. Nic Hayes, always good to talk to you from Media Stable. Your website?
Mediastable.com.au.
All right, hope we talk to you under better circumstances next week.
I'm sure we will, John.
Lovely chatting, Nick.
Cheers, mate.
There is Nic Hayes from Media Stable. He's with us every Monday night right here at News Talk 4BC.